What's going on, guys? It is Gamerman here, and welcome back to The Legend of the Big Boy. Now, last episode, I received a comment that made me very, very upset. And if I see another comment like that, I will not be happy. It was very inappropriate, and I wish that you do not do such an action on a child-friendly channel. The only reason I don't put an age restriction on these videos is because I need the comment section so that people know what I'm doing and to know if people like what I'm doing. So, we are starting today on Chapter 1, Last Year, Last Run. And if you can see from the picture over here, we have a big boy. The picture description reads, the month following the final end of their reign on Sherman Hill, the 4006 heads up the deadlines of 6 big boys at Cheyenne on August 27th, 1959. It's very sad to see them go. The 4006 had itself not been in service for about 2 years. Then the sudden end of the big boy service era left many rail fans with only an opportunity to photograph the silent husks, which is true. The final season of service for the big boys was July 6th to the 21st of 1959, when the 4011, 4014, 4015, 4017, 4019, and 4023 made 25 round trips between Cheyenne and Laramie. It ended with the 4015 arriving in Cheyenne at 7:55 p.m. on July 21st. A steelworker strike, poor wheat harvests in Kansas and Nebraska, plus short fruit crops in California all conspired to confine operations of the big boys to only 16 days that summer. Because of the downturn in freight traffic, there was an insufficient time for many. This was an insufficient time for many rail fans to get to Wyoming to see the last runs. Hence, it does not appear that any rail photographers was present on Sherman Hill the day to take a picture of 4010 during what proved to be the last run of a big boy. The next picture is Extra 4019 West hauling 2,600 tons while I guess it's churning through West Spear, Wyoming in July 18th, 1959. Or 1959, right here. And I will zoom in on this picture for you so you can see it a little better. George O. Busks, I don't know quite how to pronounce his name, so I'm just going to call him George, is the engineer credited as being the last to operate a big boy over the road when he was brought the 4015 to Cheyenne on July 21st, 1959. George had hired out with Union Pacific in engine service as a fireman in 1938, later being promoted to engineer. He was later known for surviving an unusual job-related accident in Rawlins, Wyoming in early 1946. While inspecting the interior of a diesel unit, a drive shaft disconnected and smashed one of George's lower legs. With expert surgery in Cheyenne, amputation of the leg was avoided, and George was able to return to engine service after about 18 months of rehabilitation. He died September 28, 1971, at the age of 55, while still in Union Pacific employment. It appears likely that some now unknown person in the Cheyenne Roundhouse forces, perhaps a holster or holster helper, would have been the last person to operate a 4000. Assuming the normal course of operation when 4015 arrived, the crew moved the engine to the coal chute area and left going to the engine's dispatcher office to complete their paperwork. The holster and related staff would have then cleaned and dumped 4015's fire. It would have been likely that the tender was filled with both coal and water, and usual lubricant services performed. Number 4005 would then be moved to the roundhouse under its own steam, where it was allowed to cool down to dead, perhaps because orders were given to suspend all work on the big boys, is open to question. However, the big steam shops and related staff layoffs at Cheyenne had already begun. No railfan steam excursion was ever operated using a 4000, but interestingly, an opportunity for such almost presented itself in March 1956 during a rare round-trip excursion by the Rocky Mountain Railroad Club from Denver to Cheyenne using engine number 9000, the last operating UP 412-2 type. It was reported that in a last-minute development, Union Pacific told the club it would substitute a big boy for number 9000 on the special. However, after being informed that many out-of-state visitors had arrived, made plans to specifically come and ride behind number 9000, the railroad agreed to use the 412-2 on the excursion. Ironically, both number 9000 and an example of the engine type was almost stood in on that excursion are now on display at Pomona, California. The locomotive in question is 4014, which is currently under steam in Cheyenne. As of this date, however, during COVID-19, the locomotive is dead storage. I'm now going to show two pictures and then read the descriptions of them. So here are the two pictures. This one we've already seen. And so there are the two pictures. The top picture's description: renowned rail photographer Otto Perry from Denver was among the fortunate few who filmed Big Boy during their last season of operation in 1959. Number 4017 had departed Cheyenne at 3 p.m. on July